Thank you. A warm welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the second session on the HR analytics. I'm going to put my, screen on the sharing mode. Just confirm me if you can see my screen. Yes. I request someone to please confirm if my screen is visible.
Yes, this is visible.
Thank you so much. Pleasure. All right. So, for some of you, those who were, the new in the class, a small snippet. I mean, you can read it later, but yes, after the experience of corporate world, how we take up the HR analytics to transform the generation became the real passion for us. Certain tips and hygiene for the today's session. Yes, chat box activity. I would really request to please put yourself in mute, and also if you want to follow us on any social media platform, please feel free. We are there in almost all the platforms. So I'll come to the point today because we've been, taking up almost like some time has gone by. So let's maintain that harmony of time. So in the first session, we talked about the overview of HR. We also understood the concept of HR, people, and workforce. We understood the benefits of HR analytics with the history, importance, and challenge. Before I proceed, any query, any question if you have from the first session, you can put it on the chat box. I'll just give 30 seconds definitely, or else you can unmute yourself and do share about any query and question if you have. Good afternoon, Dhananjay. Okay. All right, so I see no query, no question. Thank you so much. So our today's session will focus on the tools, which is something very, very important. From there, we'll also talk about the careers, which is, how we can take up the HR analytics as a, as a stepping stone in our HR domain. And we'll also understand the various analytics domain in the today's session. So that's what the basic framework we have. So we all understand that HR analytics as a function, we follow a very simple philosophy of 80-20 principle, which is a Pareto analysis, and it's been used in every now and then in every framework or every situation or every thought, So if we see into the HR analytics, definitely there are two P's that we work on. One is on the project and one is on the process. Now, when we talk about the project measurement, we actually, capture 80% of the data and our effort of 20% goes into the analysis. I've just given an example on the screen, which you can see that go out and measure and analyze the reasons for turnover of my salespeople. So that's the data capture we do. But when we talk about the process element, here we are talking about we capture the data, which is like 20%, but my major focus of 80% is into the analysis. So we end up building metrics, we end up building dashboards, we end up doing a correlation, we end up doing a, any kind of statistical tool that is on the engagement side, on the competency side scores, and to measure any other thing by using the correlation, by using the regression or the chi-square. So there are various, tools and techniques that can be used. So to work on these statistical framework, there are various tools which are available, but the best one, I'm quoting most of the tools right now for all of you here, and we'll try and understand these tools, which will actually going to help you. You can use it in the near future. So they are like Python, SAS, Kenmare, Minitab, SAP, Tableau, Quick View, Spark, Mahout, Rapid Miner, IBM SPSS. So these are some of them which are very, very dominantly used. And, so what I have observed, there is a very a growing demand and importance of data analytics in the market, which has actually generated many openings, not only in India, but I would say worldwide, right? So it has become slightly, I would say, tough to shortlist the top data analytics tools. And because these tools are so many numbers, so there are some open source and there are some paid version. Now, there are many open source tools which doesn't require any coding and manages to deliver the great results than the paid version. Trust me. So they are like R programming in data mining. Tableau, is another one. Python in the data visualization. So various data analytics tool, both open source as well as paid version, they are based on the popularity, learning, and performance. So R is the leading analytics tool. Let me be very candid. I personally use SPSS very strongly because I just love SPSS and Minitab. Both of them I've been using it very rigorously because being a part of research and being a part of loving statistics and, applying various research work and, publishing research work. So that's how we use SPSS. R is, as I said, it is very dominant, and you will see a widely used by a statistician, and you will see that you can easily manipulate the data when I say, for your purpose. And it has exceeded SAS in many ways, like capacity of data, performance, and outcome. So you will compile and run on a wide variety of platforms. So R can be run on Unix, it can run on Windows, it can run on MacBook. So it's that comfortable. So you will see that top organization which have been using these tools, like R has been used by FB, City, Genpact, Cognizant, Python very strongly by Alibaba, Google, TCS, Genpact. Same is with by Spark and Storm. Sorry for that. So it's like Uber, Yahoo, Alibaba, Spotify, Netflix. They're very strongly using them. Commercial one are SAS, which has been specifically the financial sector. They are very particular about it, where they want to know where there's a financial dealings are involved, So you'll see the Accenture, HDFC Bank, Netflix, HSBC. They all have been using such tools. Tableau is something I think I would recommend everyone to please do work on it, because it is so very important to present your data in a very, very interesting manner. Then we have Quick Views, Splunk, so this has been again used. So this is just a small insight for all of you, because you can use it as per your comfort. And so these, there are certain set of strategy, strategical tool compared to the operational tool. And, in ops tools, you will see that how we work towards the workforce planning, maybe in the form of matrix dashboard. Talent acquisition, you will see HCM is there, applicant tracking is there, benefits, PF tracker is there, leave management is there. Even the same way we have for the global immigration, there is a visa tool. Same way for the payroll, MyPay is very, very strong. And for the training, My Academy is something which has been used by the organizations. Strategic tools, I really love the HCM. It actually shares all the recruitment connotations and has a scorecard in place. That's how you will find that various organizations, for the great decision making, they use such set of tools. So the major advantages and disadvantages of working with this tools are that we source the data, right? And the data can be sourced from medical records are there, social media data are there, multimedia, web transaction, web data. So let me give you one very good insight here, because these are something which is very easily be sourced. One of the strongest is, I'll give you the examples how the data gets captured and actually the real information gets. The first one is, we all get our KYC documents xeroxed, right? We go to the photocopier machine. So we have observed that photocopier guy, they don't take out one document of photocopy. He or she will take out two sets. One is he's going to keep it for himself, and the second one is given to you because of the photocopy you've asked for. Now that data gets compiled, and that's really our original data, because that's authentic data. Second is, when you go in any organization to meet someone, they ask you to fill up your data, right? That is the second data which is easily available, and people end up using it. Third, very surprising, I don't know how many of you are aware of it. Even we all take a flight, we all get the boarding pass. Let me ask anyone, please unmute yourself. Those who have traveled by a flight, what do you do with your boarding pass? Anyone, please can just unmute yourself and share.
I trash it and put it in bin.
Very nice. And who was it who actually responded?
This is Mahesh Batra.
Mahesh Batra. So Mahesh, tell me one thing, how do you trash it? Could you just explain that?
I specifically tier the barcode. I know that my data is restored there. So anybody can restore my data and probably sell it across.
Very nice. And do you know how does that happen? If you can help the group knows about it, because you seems to have a knowledge about it. Yes.
It's the barcodes, as in so nowadays we know that, there's a barcode scanner. In any and every phone that we carry carries a barcode scanner. As soon as you scan a barcode, it takes you to a website.
Right.
And that website apparently happened to have my entire information. So for us, it's like a paper waste, as in for a layman individual. But then that barcode or any barcode carries any or every data. So it is important that as long as we are educated and aware, it is important that we carry our data with us, knowing the privacy.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mahesh. It was really insightful from you. Very rightly said, because the barcode actually says everything about you. If you scan it, we get to know the information from which site have you booked the tickets, which card you have used, what's the name which appears in the card, since how long you've been using the card. So a lot of phishing element happens through this. So just, I would request that whenever you are, using any things which has a barcode, just take care of it and just try to tear it very, very nicely, and don't, let go like this. So you will see the, once the data gets acquired, we do data analysis by extracting the data, by putting into the profile, by cleansing and deduping it. So you will see the process of analyzing the data, which sets to, derive I would say a useful conclusion, or for that matter, information. This is what is data analytics. So, a data analytics actually involves a various set of operation on the data. There are various sets, there are various tables, which is available in the database. So the operation includes as I mentioned, data extraction, profiling, cleansing, deduping, which you are in, you can see on the screen, and it actually depicts the data analytics process to derive the useful graph, even for that matter, textual information, right? So data analytics tools and solutions are, you will find, used in various industries like banking, finance, retailers, insurance, healthcare, social media companies. So I'll just give you another example, or I don't know whether you have witnessed to it. Just write today, type, just write in the Google, you're looking for any cosmetic or anything which you really need for, or maybe an attire, or maybe some kind of books, or, anything that you're really planning to buy. You will be very surprised. The moment you will open the Insta or Facebook, suddenly you will see the advertisement start popping in your that profile of yours. And also very interesting, the moment you will open your email account, so email account, on top of it, you will see the ads running of the same things which you are really looking forward. So I was really telling you, this is something which is like, I found it very surprising when I started working almost like 7-8 years back to understand this. I still remember I wrote once, that I was looking for a iPad, and it was like 2013 I'm talking about, and suddenly I started popping up a lot of information from the Samsung, from the Mac, and they're saying this iPad is available, this iPad is available. I was like, how did they get to know? So it's like an Alexa, and the Siri knows more than anybody else about you. So just take care on that bit. Okay. So that's why you will find that, I'll put it on the screen about the advantages and disadvantages of the data analytics, but you will see how it detects and correct the errors, and with the set of cleansing approach, you will find that, this actually helps improving the quality of data, and it benefits both customers and institutions like banks, insurance, and finance companies. It actually removes duplication of information. So it actually decreases the cost to this company. So that's why you will find, because you start working on the large amount of memory space. Then it displays the relevant advertisement on the online shopping websites based on your historical data, which is available. And what happens is basically the machine learning algorithms are applied for the same. So this helps to increase the revenue and the productivity of the companies. So they get to know what the customers are really looking forward, where exactly the entire, the customer's orientation is going towards. So you get to know about that. Then it reduces the banking risk by identifying the probable fraudulent customers. We have started educating. So there's a lot of another insight that we do on the risk management sessions, where we tell them. So if you will see a web series called Jam Tara in Netflix, right? It will tell you how the oldies and the young generations are actually becoming a victim to it. We really need to educate them. And the banking sector specifically. So there's a couple of things that I've observed. So let me give you my personal example. I got an SMS from last year from income tax. Let me tell you that. So I got an SMS from the income tax. It says that income tax number was there, and it says you're supposed this X amount is about to get credited. Request to share and do the KYC and share all the required information. And then I clicked it, and it asked all the relevant information about my name, my age, my Aadhaar number, and everything. And suddenly, it just clicked my mind that income tax officers, the portal never asked such information. And suddenly I just called up my CA, and then she mentioned me that, okay, ma'am, this is the recent fraud which has started. Please do not click and submit your information. Otherwise, entire data will be, gone. And luckily I was safe. But sometimes you have to be, a common sense, and the presence has to be used, So that's why it's very, very important. Then you will find it is used by various security agencies for the surveillance, for the monitoring purpose. And you will see there is a lot of information which gets collected in the form of sensors. And you will see this helps in preventing any wrongdoing or any kind of calamities. So that's the latent stage I'm talking about. When we talk about the disadvantages, definitely, breach of privacy, definitely. So, the customer informations like the purchasing, the online transaction, subscription, which are strongly visible to the parent companies, and the companies exchange these useful customer database for their mutual benefit. So you'll see the banking sector will share it with the insurance, and insurance sector will share it with the banks. I'm just giving you an example, but how this works. medical insurance, hospital sharing it with the insurance company and so on. Then you will see the cost of data analytics tools. It varies based on the features of the tool, to be very, very honest, and how well you are going to use the tool. So sorry for that. So it's like some of the data analytics tools are quite a complex in nature, and they require a very in-depth training. And I would say all of you are lucky that you being a part of ISTD, and ISTD actually giving you this opportunity to work on the data analytics session. So it's really going to give you an insight about how it works, right? So this, indeed, it increases the cost to the company. We are willing to adapt, but but the software helps you furthermore. Also, you will see the information which is obtained by using data analytics can also be misused against a group of people. So that has to be again taken care for certain set of communities, certain set of caste and all that. So let me not go into the detail of that, but this is how the disadvantages are. So let's talk about the various tools. The first tool that I'm going to talk about is the R. So this is the tool which has been widely used, and a great statistical analysis based on the visualization, and very well suited to explore the massive data set. If you have it enables you to analyze and cleanse the data with the millions of rows of data. That's the best part. So even if you have a data for, let's say, 3-4 years, and you want to know the pattern, the trends, and you will see the things coming up. So there is something called integrated development environment. We call it IDE, which has been used by R Studio, which is like R, right? And IDE is it's a software that actually provides additional facilities for software development and data analysis. So this makes the software more user-friendly, and the interface contains a code editor, R console, and it's easily accessible at the workplace with the history of log and the rooms for plots and the files. So you might find that right now that you might feel that, oh my God, Anubha is using such a heavy words, right? But then this is very, very normal. It is something that can be very comfortably used. So once we talk about the HR careers, so you will understand who all can use it. So the importance of data visualization is the core, because I really would appreciate that you walk towards the reading the graph, the reading the literally output of the graph, So the visualization of the raw data, from the perspective of a data analysis to showcasing as a result to the consumers of analytics products, that visualization element, is important. So there is a respective team who's expert in how to work on these tools, so they can work on it, But your job is enhance your job profiling in such a manner that you start reading the data very correctly. Okay. So this is what the R Studio, you'll see how it looks like, with the pictorial depiction. So, end of the day, you should be able to see the various factors, various count, and how the bar graph looks like and what is it depicts, And your people can actually put the data in place, and they can actually do the assessment. The next one that we use is Python. Python is an open source again, just like R, and it's a high-level programming language that's actually often used by the technical analyst and data scientist. It now actually boasts more worldwide developer than the Java, and more than somewhere around 2 lakh available packages, So it can actually handle many different analysis on its own, and it can actually integrate with the third-party package for the machine learning and the data visualization. So the data visualization packages like Plotly, Seaborn, it gets, engaged with that. So Python is actually used as a programming interface to other analytic systems. That's how you will see the difference between both Python and the R, the features and the language element. So I've given it in a very simplistic manner for all of you. So you will see that how data science community, it's kind of a buzzword for them, but which is very strongly, these two things are used by the data scientists as per their choice. And you will see they both are kind of a similar in nature. There is a interpretability is there. Libraries are very common, so you can use either one of them. The third one, the most important and the easy to use, is Excel. The world is using Excel, and I'm sure you all would be using it. This is something that HR analytical, tools is, I always say that it's going back to the basics, so don't forget the basics. That's what I can say. So it is where the most of us have started and most of us are going to die with, So whenever you manually extract the data from any of your HR system, it is most likely to come out in the form of your CSV file, Excel file, and then further we can edit it. So very good thing about the Excel is that it is very intuitive to most of us, the HR data, it actually geeks, and therefore it's very easy to use. I mean, you can actually check how to clean your own data, how can you quickly transform the data set into the table way. And, it's like you can have a various set of maximum, minimum range, totaling it up and so on. So let me ask you a very GK question to all of you, right? I'm very fond of like this way to ask. How many rows and columns are there in Excel? Let me see who can answer. How many rows and columns are there in Excel? Anyone? You can unmute or you can use a WhatsApp, a chat box.
Yes, the one that I am using with the Office 365 happens to have 6,553,000 column.
Okay.
And rows goes to A X X as in Z.
Okay, no worries. So I got some figure of some 6.5 lakhs, right? Someone else would like to share? Anyone? Okay, no worries. I feel that, you must be thinking about how many of them are there. So there you will find approximately, I mean, I will not give you the accurate figure. I mean, the Google Baba can do it. It's somewhere around 10 lakhs rows by 16,000 plus odd columns. So if you will see the data point, I mean, if I have to, let's say, analyze the data for almost like a decade, Excel cannot do it, because firstly, it will take so much of time. Secondly, putting the data, it will not have so much of data. It cannot encapsulate. So that's the disadvantage of the Excel. So that's why we need the other tools to work on it. Okay. Then we have Power BI, So Microsoft Power BI is we also call it business intelligence. It is one of the top platform which is being supported for the dozen of data source. Here you will see the users can create and share the reports, visualization approach is there, the dashboards gets created, and you can actually combine group of dashboards and reports into the Power BI for a simple distribution, So it allows user to build automated machine learning models and integrates with the various machine learning approach. So it helps to makes the aggregation, analysis, visualization very, very easy and very, very simple. So that's how it works. Then you will find Tableau, which is another one. It always, it's a tool where you will see been used by various organizations, because we can work on both visualization and analytics. And it was founded in 2003, you can see on the screen, and it was a very good success from the Stanford University, which they produced it. And you will see it's like it can run not only on the cloud, but also on the on-premises. And most of the Tableau platform, you will see it will run on the core query language, which we also call it WizQL. Okay. So this translates, drag and drop dashboard and visualization component into the efficient backend queries if we have. So you will find that it is kind of a similar to Power BI, and it works as a commercial outlet for the research produced by, as I mentioned, Stanford University, and now the world is using it. So that's the great thing about the Tableau. Then we also have another one which we call it Wiser. This is something, again, a lot of HR managers I have seen, they've been using it for strategic and for the business purpose to release the information on workforce analytics and unifies the organization data from the various sources like HRIS, that we call Human Resource Information System, or else applicant tracking system, So you can see the past trends can also be seen from this. So that's how the Wiser can also predict, just to give an example, let's say a specific employee's risk of quitting and the cost of losing that employee's risk of quitting would be high. So, you might get to know, and with the help of succession planning approach, the Wiser software can also help you to figure it out and stop the person to quit the organization. And it can also be work for the learning and performance management, so that's the another element that we have. And you will see that even this is what I have shown in the screen also, that how it's been used to get to know what is the risk of people resigning in the next 18 months. And this is what the data analyst, I've given you an example how she's been using it. Then we have Quill. It is again a very simple self-service analytics and a business intelligence platform. Again, it supports both cloud and on-premises deployment. The tool actually boasts strong support of data exploration. It develops the technical and non-technical users alike. And it has many types of charts, and you can customize with both what we call it embedded SQL and drag and drop module, so that can be worked on. And this one I love SPSS, SPSS, Statistical Package for Social Science. Okay, that's the full form of SPSS. It's a statistical package for the social science, most widely and commonly used by HR professionals. Specifically, those are into social science. Trust me, thanks to the user-friendly interface, you are able to analyze the data without having an extensive statistical knowledge. This is the beauty of this. So I don't say that you need to know the formulas of chi-square, of multivariance, or how to work on the multiple regression model, or factorization. But once you know what tool to apply when, this SPSS can actually help you out very comfortably. So that is the reason why, the SPSS on the list, it's always on the topmost. And it's one of the biggest competitor, I would say, is SAS. Now, SAS has more users outside the social science field. However, you will find that steeper learnings curves of SPSS also shares many similarities, with Excel, because Excel also can do correlation, Excel also can do regression, right? But you should know how to put it. That's important. I'll just see someone has written on the chat box. Oh, no idea. No worries. Okay. I thought there is some query in question. Thanks, Dhananjay, for this. So I was just talking about the SPSS, a stepping stone, for any organization with less mature analytical capabilities. Very easy to do an exploratory correlation analysis. Very easy to do a quick regression analysis. And you will find that other tools might be complicated, but this one is a easy sail through. So you will find that, very simply you can use it for descriptive analysis. And in the second last session, in the fifth or the sixth session, we'll be doing a detail of descriptive analysis. Okay. But you will see that summarizing of the frequency, measuring of the central tendency, working with mean, median, mode, making an inferences about the sample and the population. So such things can happen with the SPSS very comfortably. So here you work with the hypothesis, and a hypothesis is nothing but a statement which you would like to test for a possible rejection under the assumption that it is true. The purpose of the most statistical test is to determine if the obtained results provide a reason to conclude whether or not the differences are the results of a random chance. So if the rejection of hypothesis leads to an alternative hypothesis, we end up giving a judgment like to reject null hypothesis. Data must meet the significance level, which is the alpha of 0.05, right? That's the standard deviation that we work on. That is a 95%. So that's the terminology that we use into the descriptive analytics. We also use it, for the samplings, whether it is random, whether it is systematic, whether it is stratified or cluster, hypothesis I've already shared for the confidence interval. I will be sharing the name of the books for you for your reference so that you can learn about these things very comfortably, and you can further talk about this to your people and use very comfortably. So this is what I was talking about, the significance level. If the p values is less than equal to alpha, then we reject hypothesis. This is how we statistically significantly put it across. And if my p value is greater than alpha, then we fail to reject null hypothesis and we go for the alternative hypothesis. The correlation is something, that we work on and talk about the positive relationship and the negative relationship. So it works on the two variables, x-axis and y-axis. And you will see we work on the correlation, how it's going up, how it's going down. I'm not going to deep dive into it, but I'm just telling you how the correlation chart actually comes up in the SPSS, but we have a detailed session on this. We also work on the regression, multiple regression, which actually estimates the coefficient of linear equation. It involves more than one independent variable, right? So to give you an example, users can predict a salesperson's total annual sales, which is a dependent variable based on the independent variables such as age, education, and year. So if I have to ask you, let me ask you a very simple question. Where do we plot our independent variable, x-axis or y-axis? Anyone? Or if anyone can tell me, what do we plot on the y-axis and what do we plot on the x-axis? Okay, now this is very important. You all should know. So all the independent variables such as age, education, number of years of experience, these are all independent variables. These will come on the x-axis. And the y-axis is the outcome, which is a dependent variable, right? That will come on the y-axis. That is how we analyze it. So we have, simple categories of simple regression, multiple regression, chi-square, ANOVA. Chi-square is nothing but the goodness of fit test. It's like it estimates how closely the observed distribution matches an expected distribution. Okay. So another way is the way ANOVA can be taught is through generalization of the t-test. So again, that's analysis of variance that we call ANOVA. It produces a very quantitative dependent variables which gets affected more than one factor. So that's how we see analysis of variance. So this is the analysis aspect and the tools, how it gets used. So today we are mostly focusing, if you will see, the aspect of the tools and how it can be used and what exactly it can depict, right? But I have actually planned a detailed session on the statistics analysis so that you all are very comfortable and you all can be very well use these things in your life. Any query, any question as of now before I proceed, so that I'll take up the next stint of HR analytics in a career aspect. All right, so I see. So if you have any query, question, please put it on the chat box, or you can ask me towards the end, So that's, feel free and be comfortable. So you will see now I'm going to touch upon the HR analytics career. You will see that I'm going to highlight on the one by one on these aspects of tasks and competencies of HR analyst. Please note that it is a very broad role, okay? And depending on the organization, it will be having a key focus based on the different tasks. So quite a few organizations, you will see that they look for HR analyst, which is predominantly having a soft skills and hard skills both. So this makes the analyst functions profile very similar to the HR business partner. And I'm going to share with you what is the difference between analyst and the business partner, because it's very important to know the real difference between both the profiles. If you're applying for such kind of job, or if you're seeking for some set of people into these kind of roles in your organization, you should really know what exactly you're looking at. Okay, so here this also means that you very rarely see an analyst who's doing a data analysis for 100% of their job. They are usually involved in other operational tasks as well. Let me be very, very candidly sharing it with you, right? So let me share the key competencies organization looks at and find out, and wanting for HR analysts to have it. You will see the 7 of them here right now, so it's something which is like very, very important and very, very key, and I'll take one at a time. So the first one, what we look at is the business acumen. Now, business acumen is something which is becoming increasingly important for the HR role. So the same actually holds for the HR analyst too. It's not only for the HR role, but even for the analyst. So before you analyze the data, you should know what project you will work on, how the data analysis will impact your business. Uh, it is an essential skills for any analyst, who's involved in either a simple data analysis or the end-to-end project analysis. So starting from one point to the end point. So you should know the relevance of the role. Communication skills and the consultation. I feel, ask me personally, this is the most crucial and the important soft skills I have observed the senior members are looking at. Whether you are spending most of your time analyzing the data, or even if you're spending less time on analyzing the data, you need to talk to the business, manage the stakeholders and their expectations. And you should be very well able to communicate, the analytics projects which is relevant to the audience. It is so very important. So if you're not able to communicate that well, you will see you lose that sanctity. Third, very important, is relationship management. Now, when we talk about relationship, managing a relationship is basically a key. It's like managing the stakeholders. When we say, now you manage your team members, you manage your boss, you manage your, on the personal side, how do you manage your husband? How do you manage your wife? The same very way, how the analyst manage your relationships with the business people. So the expectation management is a requirement for analyst success. So you need to keep the business involved, I would say, in your analytics project. And you need to keep them up to date and very telling them the potential setback which is expected and coming up. So this is how your relevance will come in. Definitely HR expertise. This is another one I would say. I'm not going systematically like this in a U shape. I'm just telling you as per the real requirement I have seen in the corporate life. So this is the experience, by the way of experience I'm sharing with all of you. HR expertise is whether you are more on the business partner side of the analyst role, or crunching number on every single day. So anyhow, HR expertise is an essential skill. So this kind of expertise touches almost everything you do in your job as an HR professional. So it can be divided into the three key areas. Knowledge of the science behind what we do in HR, knowledge of HR best practice, and understanding of the HR key processes. So these are the key three things. So one is the knowledge of the science, which is behind of the HR, right? Second is the best practices, which is prevailing in an industry. And the key HR processes understanding. So these are the three key things as an HR expertise you should be aware having. Then we definitely HR analysis. That's the very important. So HR analysis talks about how well you know the statistics terminology, right? So here you will see it is involved in the basis of data driven and HR in the organization. So you will see for most of the organization, you report and you create a dashboard. You report and you create a dashboard. So this is how it works, and you will see the data maturity in the organization becomes very, very ad hoc. So ad hoc reporting means that the information has to be manually retrieved from the systems for reporting and analysis. Now, this kind of actually data often needs to be cleansed very, very well and will take a lot of time. So more mature organizations have automated this process. You will see this makes reporting less time consuming, and the analyst can actually focus on analyzing that data and adding a value to the reporting. This is what is called predictive analysis. So you start ending up predicting what is going to come up. So that's why we say the competence is actually required to be a strong attention into the details. Then we have system and implementation, I would say. In this, definitely we use HRIS, right, very strongly. It's a transactional system which contains most of the data, and you see all the HR works with that. So whether you're implementing, whether you're maintaining, whether you are updating the system, it's the responsibility of analysts. So that's how they work. And then we have global and cultural awareness. You will see the most, I would say almost, it's like never local. It's a localization level, right? So as an analyst, you work with the global data. Global, the cultural awareness is very, very essential. What is good in India, how it will be in America, how it will be in Europe, how it will run in the APEC region. So this is how you have to figure it out and have to think. And this is how you get the best practices and put it into the system. All right. So how to become an HR analyst? Definitely a course like this is always helpful. But I'll put it in a very important aspect of HR analytics. That is a HR data analyst and a HR business partner. Now, this is important for me to make you guys explain, because once I talk about how to become an HR analyst, definitely your quantitative skill has to be very, very strong. Your qualitative skill has to be, again, very, very strong. And then definitely both soft skills and hard skills go hand in hand together. So enhance on both of them. So let me just give you the difference, it's important. So the analyst job actually focuses on the collection, analysis, and reporting of data. So the business partner is more involved in the communicating with the line managers and helping to solve their HR related problems. So in practice, you will see the business partner relies for 90% on soft skills, while the analyst relies such as more on the hard skill, which is working with the data. So this is really important. So if you're going to work as an HR business partner, your soft skills should be prominent. If you're going to work as an HR data analyst, your hard skills should be very, very strong. So that's why we say work on your, very important is find out how the statistics works, how the maths works, what kind of tool you can use it in the organization, which free tools you all can apply, which is to be the paid version, and how well you can use the Excel, which tools to use when. So that is the role of the HR analyst. The HRBP, we call it, the HR business partners, is an internal consultant, I would say, a very simple word, So this consultant word is very common thing which you will see in the people when they leave, they become and share their expertise and experience to the people. But they're the one who help the managers achieve business objective. Sometimes this work is very operational and sometimes it is more tactical. So let me give you an example of both HR data analyst and a business partner, right? I'll not name this, which hotel industry I'm talking about. So this is a 5-star hotel in Europe. And, there was, in this particular Europe region, there was a lot of Asians were visiting there. A lot of Asians were visiting there. So, they had the best of the people. But what they realized that there was a lot of attrition. And they were not able to understand that why there's a lot of attrition. And when we see that there are great amount of customers walking in to this hotel, so they try to figure it out. They got the best of the people to serve the customers, from the European market. But then, when we talk about the business partners role, they started talking that why the attrition is so high, what is the reason behind it. So the kind of open-ended question coming up, what kind of people are joining the organization? What are their backgrounds? What kind of the customers coming in? What are their demands? What are their likings? How are they communicating with them? How their expectation are getting set? So all this set of questions started coming from the business partners, and the HR business partners were supposed to answer in the same language. Now what happened was the HR business partner got in touch with the HR data analyst. They retrieved the data, and then they identified, because it is more of an Asians walking in this 5-star hotel, whereas who are serving, they are all Europeans. So they realized and they predicted that the kind of hiring these people are doing is wrong. So they need to take Asians to serve as a to serve the customers. And the moment they predicted it, and they prescribed that let's have people from China market, India market, Philippines market, and you'll be so surprised that exactly in 3 months the attrition came down, the customer satisfaction score went up. So the HR business partners work on this periphery. So I thought of giving you a real life example, which always goes. All right, so that's the very important relevance you will see and figure it out. Let's move towards the stages of analytics. Now, stages of analytics works on the complexity versus the business value, which is like everybody work on the same 2 level. So when we see, when you work on the value is less and the complexity is less, we work on a very simple subject called reporting. We report the seniors that what is it that we are looking at. So they will tell them, okay, what are we looking at? What is the current scenario? What is the current sales? So we just report because the complexity is less. But the moment we see the complexity is increasing, we go into the analysis mode. We want to know why it's happening and what it is happening. So why and what becomes a very important element. And to safeguard us to take a better level to the next level, we work on the predictive analysis. That is, what can happen. So let me give you another example to it. So again, this organization, I'm giving you an example of, again, attrition, which was high in this organization. Again, I can't name the organization, but yes, I can tell you the challenge. So the attrition was 28%, and they were all with Gen Z. So all the youngsters who were joining, they used to leave within 8 to 9 months, or max to max not a year. So the organization really got very this thing that they started first, they reported that the people are leaving the organization. So that was the reporting came in. But when the attrition became high, they started analyzing, they started doing a lot of exit interviews, they started figuring out what went wrong. And then in that analysis, they got to know that the people are leaving because they are going for the higher studies. That is this, post-graduation. And mostly they identified for that itself. It was not because they were not happy in the organization. It was because they wanted to pursue further higher education. And that is where the stakeholders with the HR business partner came up with this prediction that if people are leaving because they want to enhance the education, let's give an option to the people that if you complete 1 year with us, we will give you funding, or with the 50% of the tuition fee or XY reason for your higher education, and you can use our channel and we can get you the admission in the higher institutions, great institutions like B category and A category. And then the moment this became an initiative, it happened that yes, the percentage went down. So sometimes, the analytics plays a very interesting role, and it's all about your experience, the way it is coming up. It is like you end up foreseeing that what will happen. You start observing the sentiments of the market. sentiments of the people, sentiments of the external environment, sentiments of the internal environment. So this is how it works. So analytics domain, you will see it is prevailing now in every industry, that is whether it is retail, whether it is financial, whether it is risk or credit, or web analytics, pricing analytics, consumer behavior, marketing analytics, fraud analytics, supply chain, telecom, collections, talent and HR analytics, retail sales. So this is the, it's a big umbrella, and it's a plethora of option which is available to the HR, and they can actually dominate with their set of expertise. So, the kind of, just imagine the expertise people are looking for and the kind of experience that you all are coming in for this particular sessions and this particular course. I mean, trust me, even if you take up one particular domain and you excel in that, you will become the subject matter expert. So my suggestion would be, take up into that level and start analyzing it. It's really beneficial for the future. So there are a lot of matrix type tools that we use, which is rate, ratio, composition, cost, time, quality, and satisfaction. I'm going to talk about this very in detail. We'll be giving you a reading material also into this, and I'll ask the ISTD team, I'll be sharing with them so that you will read in the blog, so you get a lot of learning to it. And you can, mostly you will see the people use the matrix for the satisfaction about either which is a very subjective in nature, whether related to process or the experience, from the quality to the performance of the people, process, and the system. And the time, we talk about the cycle time, the volume of time invested. Cost is, yes, definitely how much profitability we have given, what is the organizational expenses, and so on. The volume based, which is the characteristics. Index, definitely, the scale and the anchor. And the ratio, which we gets expressed from the past data to the present data, we compare it, and so on. I would just say this is the last slide of the today's session. Very important is common mistakes to avoid. Keeping a metric live when it has no clear business reason for being. I have seen this is something which is like, we have a tool in place and we are using those tools, and we are actually, keeping the data for the good amount of years, but we are not using it, and it's actually taking a lot of bandwidth. So I would suggest don't do that. That's very important, because please have the analysis based on the organization requirement and what are your stakeholders looking at. That is one thing. So this is one of the very common mistake I have seen. Second one is relying on just a few metrics to evaluate people performance. I would again suggest that, yes, please, do not work on the couple of metrics. Let's say if you have given, last time when you asked me about the training, so let's say you have given a training to a person and then you expect a person to become a performer. No. So you just need to evaluate the person on the, before and after his or her learning, then application of the learning, then improvement in the performance, then reduction in the cycle time or error rate or the rejection rate. So kindly just evaluate on that purpose. Don't hit on only one particular thing.
Last Sunday se chal raha hai.
Sorry?
Do hi class.
Okay. I'm putting you in a mute, please. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Then we have it insisting on the 100% accurate data before any analysis is accepted, and we end up making a decision. So please don't do that mistake. Just play a devil advocacy role, and just see whether the data what you're using is correct or not. Don't work on just for a heck of it. That's really important. Assessing employees only on simple measures such as grades, test scores, which often fail. So don't have that approach also. So my suggestion is that again, these scores are to be observed and used, but we have to see the other mechanism to it. Using analytics to hire a lower level people, but not when assessing senior management. This is again something very, very important. Don't keep the analytics just only for the lower management, or a middle management. It is applicable for every grade. So please take care of that. It is really, really important, and just don't rely on that. So this is something which I have seen, and although we do talk about headhunting, but once we are talking about analytics and we are doing some kind of analysis for the people, don't expect that only we will take care of the bottom of the pyramid. Kindly talk about the top notch, ice, in the iceberg, even the cherry on the cake needs to be analyzed. We really need to know the different tangent of the senior management approach. So it will be always beneficial. Analyzing HR efficiency metrics only, so while failing to address the impact of talent management of business performance. Now, talent management and talent assessment is something which is very, very critical and important and needs to be aligned with the efficiency metrics. So please ensure that the succession planning, the career aheadment, or the development plan, competency mapping, whatever your organization is planning, needs to be managed pretty well based on the business growth. So that is how you will not be a part and will not get into the trap of this common mistake. So this is what we have for you guys. So this is our program. So this is not for you. All right. So we are coming now to the close of the session. So any query, any question now? Yes. Any query, any question?